What's cracking, everybody? Zerfel, Rose, and Maggie here, bringing you some Pokemon Go battling content. And in today's video, love is in the air, because it's Love Cup time, and little Miss Maggie is a year old as of a couple days ago, so happy belated birthday to you, my sweet girl. It's crazy how time flies with these kids, I swear. So today we're bringing you a team with Buzzwole as the closer. We've got an ABB team with Double Fighter in the back line, and the reason why this team synergizes so well is we have Miltank, which is an excellent counter to Charizard, as you've probably seen on a few YouTube channels already. And Medicham obviously cores very well with those kinds of Pokemon because it's weak to Charizard and strong against the things that beat Miltank. But also, I didn't want to run Scrafty, and I'm like, man, another fighter would do really good in this meta the way it's running right now, because I kept seeing a lot of things like other Scrafties, kept seeing a lot of other Miltanks, and I wanted to have something that could beat Slowbro as well. So I thought I'll give my Buzzwole a shot. And Buzzwole took me on an 8-2 run in this league, and I'll take that any day because good runs are good runs. Did have a couple of bad games, though. Outside of that, I had a bad was learning the team, had a bad set with learning the team, but after that, took off and went 8-2 and did real well. So let's take a look at these battles and see just why this team works so well. So again, we've got Miltank, which has Thunderbolt and has Rollout. So between those two things, you're able to deal with things like this, the Cancel Slowbro, which immediately swaps out for a Miltank safe swap. Now I have two really good responses in the back, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to counter with my Buzzwole because I'm going to be able to come out of this with a lunge loaded or close to it, and that's going to allow me to force a shield off the Slowbro. And because I have some energy stored on my Miltank, I should also be able to get to a Thunderbolt against the Miltank. Now I'm going to go for the lunge here. I don't want to lower my own stats. I would like to actually be able to just go for a few more counters, get close to that lunge. I'll take another Body Slam with the lowered attack stat. Not really a big deal. So Body Slam's going to come through. But I'm going to go, and I'm about 2-3 away from the lunge. If I survive this, and I thought it was running Water Gun at first, but actually running Confusion, that rips right through my my Buzzwole here, but I'm able to force a shield off my opponent because I was one away from the Thunderbolt. I'm also going to be able to go for a Thunderbolt immediately afterwards to force the second shield, which now puts me up 2-0 shield, which is an extremely good position for me to be in right now. And yes, I could have gone for a Body Slam bait, but what's the point in that when I've got that much of an advantage? I'd rather not. Plus, the opponent had a lunge debuff on him, so there's no point. And then I just RPS the opponent because they have like a tongue back. So my opponent actually having a very sensible team here, but here we talk about the algorithm, right? And how, you know, you hard counter your opponents and they hard counter you. This is a situation where I completely hard countered my opponent. This is not my skill as a trainer. This is me just completely flooring my opponent with a team that beats theirs pretty badly. And I can no-shield this because if I go down here, I can still just farm down with Miltank and then go for a Thunderbolt. My opponent concedes there because they know what's coming. But, like, you know, we talk about it, right? And y'all gonna give me some crap for this, but, you know, we talk about how, you know, the opponent completely hard counters me. Look at this. Just same thing. Fairy in the back. What am I supposed to do about this, right? I don't see a whole lot of fairies in this meta, so this felt like a pretty safe team for me, but almost every time I do see a Charmer, it's a very uphill battle. Now, they are running Charm. It shreds through my Buzzwole. I have to shield this. I also want to go for a lunge here. Hopefully I can get through to the other side. I'm assuming that Mad Cargo is probably running... silly girl. They're probably running Rock Throw as a fast move oriented team, and I almost take out, but I don't quite get there. So I'm farming up with Miltank. My opponent is now going to come in with whatever response they have that's better against Miltank, which is probably going to be the Mad Cargo, which is running Rock Throw. I'm going to go for Thunderbolt because it's going to do more damage, not resisted here. And I'm going to have to bring in my Medicham at some point here to see what I can do. Now, thankfully, I am doing super effective damage with the rollouts, which isn't much to say, but I'm going to go for Thunderbolt. I should have waited out my switch timer. Would have allowed me to switch a little bit sooner. Maybe I would have had a better chance at winning the game, but I'm going to swap here. My opponent is going to go for a move. If it's an overheat, it is what it is, and then they're probably going to come in with another Charmer and just win. Yep, and there's the Charmer, and I immediately surrender because just on the exact opposite coin, or side of the coin, I got hard RPS'd, is what it is. So here's where we see where the Miltank thrives against Charizards, and they're staying in. And look at how much damage those rollouts do, and I'm able to get to a Body Slam before they get to a Dragon Claw, which is really, really nice. And because Charizard in the Great League is so squishy, one Body Slam is going to bring it into a range where I can actually really threaten this thing with either one of my fighters even at this point. I will shield this just in case it ends up being a Blast Burn, which it's not, it's a bait. So I'm going to get a little bit of extra energy. Probably wasn't the smartest idea for me to do that. Lets the Lickitung potentially get to 2 Body Slams before I can get to enough to get to a couple of moves here. So I'm going to go straight for the lunge. I'm going to make sure that I can live the next body slam and still get some farm. What I'm hoping to do here is come out of this matchup with a superpower loaded for the Charizard to force a shield. My opponent looking to hopefully lure out a Medicham, which instead they've actually lured out the Mosquito himself. And I am just short of the superpower, so they're going to be able to take me out with wing attacks, unfortunately. But my Miltank's going to come back in, and I don't think that they were at a Blast Burn, so I'm going to no-shield this one. And they were just going to throw a Dragon Claw. Whether or not they were at the move, I don't know. But I've got a ton of energy loaded on my Pokemon. But they have Zen Headbutt Miltank, and they got hard RPS. So once again, I RPS'd my opponent. And that is what the league is nowadays, because not only because of wing attack, but just that's what it is now. It's RPS. See, that's the thing, is you have to hit a lucky straight set of battles where you just happen to have the team. And that's what I was seeing a lot of people week to back in the fighting. So I'm like, okay, Miltank seems like a really strong Pokemon, but I don't want to safe swap it because I don't think it's a good idea. And there's a lot of people running Slowbro in the lead right now. What can I use that uses, I picked Miltank to core break a lot of teams, which it did, and I just put two things behind it that synergized well with it. Because the meta was centralized around Charizard, I decided to put two things in the back that were weak-ish to Charizard, bait one of them out, let Miltank finish it. So there are a couple of games in here that aren't necessarily RPS in either way or the other, but this particular one definitely does seem to be that way. My opponent now comes in with Crustula, coming with Buzzwole, and that's basically all she wrote. I am going to go for a lunge here and CMP with my opponent. They're not going to be able to get a move off here. I will probably shield this even though they got lunge debuffed. I'm not sure. I don't remember. It's been a couple days into these battles. Hello, what are you doing? You're silly. What are you doing? Violent child. She wakes up every day and chooses violence. That's what she does. So I will double shield now. What I want to be able to do is I want to come out of this matchup with the energy that I need to put a couple of lunges or a couple of superpowers and dent something, right? So this lunge is going to basically force the shield off of my opponent, and now I'm going to be able to get to a Thunderbolt and take out the Slowbro, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to my opponent. The Crustle was a little bit of a core breaker here, but fortunately I had the shields with which to take care of it, so that allowed my Miltank to Thunderbolt to go Slowbro, and everybody's running Slowbro. Like, these battles are not like me just cherry picking. These were straight two sets where just everybody where I was playing against just happened to be running these teams. Now I'm assuming that they're probably running something weak to my Miltank in the back. Maybe they've got a Charizard back there, which is why they're not swapping out. So I'm going to play to that expectation, and I think I probably have to shield at some point. But what I'm hoping to do is at least maybe get both shields before I do so. So I'm going to go by a little bit more energy. They bring in a Lickitung, and I'm like, okay, nope, that's what they have in the back that's weak. To Miltank, it's Lickitung. Lickitung historically does not do very well against things that are normal in typing and have non-ghost moves, right? So like, Miltank or Greedent, things like that. Because those licks are double resisted, they're usually not great. So I'm going to immediately come in with my Buzzwole, farm down the opponent, and I'm going to have two lunges stored and ready to go here. So if they decide to bring in their Slowbro, do you want to get down, you silly goose? They decide to bring in, and no, they bring in a Chansey. And you know what we do to Chanseys? We destroy Chanseys. I have 3 Pokemon on my roster that have play against Chansey, or my team, I should say. I'm going for Superpower, because you know what I don't want this Chansey to do? Live. So we go for Superpower. We do 20% of its HP in damage with a Superpower from Buzzwole. That's ridiculous. Chansey's ridiculously disgusting. But we do a ton of damage into the Chansey, and then I'm going to come back in with my Miltank, and I know that this is where I need to spend my shield. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to shield up the Psychic. I'm going to go for the Body Slam bait, because I'm assuming my opponent does not want to lose their Slowbro, because maybe they think I have another fighter in the back, but they call my bait, so now I'm just going to go straight for Body Slams here. At that point, may as well just go for it. They do shield that Body Slam up, so now I'm free to go for my Thunderbolt if I can get to it. But I'm going to go instead for the Body Slam here. What I'm hoping to do at this point is maybe just give my Medicham some farm after they throw a charge move. But too low of HP for me to really do that. But I am going to be able to come in with Medicham and get like 1 counter's worth of energy. And then I just need to basically go for a Psychic here. I don't know how much energy this thing has at this point, because I don't know Zen Headbutt counts. But I get to a Psychic, and I'm just like, no, I'm getting rid of this thing. I don't care how I do it. So bye Chansey, bye Slowbro, well played. I'm not even going to say good game to trainer, because anybody who runs Chansey needs to stop. They need to stop. It's not okay. It's not okay. All right, be free, child. Be free. So we hit an Ariados lead. They safe swap in Lickitung. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm not flexing my skill on my opponents here. I'm just RPSing them. So you can say what you will about that. I know I'm good at this game. But I also know that I'm not winning because I'm good at this game at this point. I'm winning because my Pokemon all hard countered the opponent's teams. And this is like the stuff that you expect, right? You're having a lot of losses. Maybe this is all it is, just RPS. It sucks. You just wait for the meta to shift. I do have to go down to Shield, though, to beat that. That felt so bad. I had to go down to Shield, though, to beat the opposing Lickitung, but I also had to let that go after shielding it so that I wouldn't have to worry about it. My opponent's Cross Poison takes me out. They do shield back, though, the Body Slam, though, so that's kind of nice. But my opponent is going to go for the lunge here, and I have to play around this because this is not going to be a matchup that my Miltank is going to have a lot of fun with, because after a couple of lunges, it's not a good time. So essentially what I'm going to do here is after my opponent throws another lunge at me, I'm going to no-shield it, and I'm just going to come with my Buzzwole, and I'm going to hope that whatever they have in the back doesn't destroy my face. So we CMP tied, going to go for a double debuffed Body Slam. Do not... She wants to go for the power button on my computer. And then my opponent's got a Crawdaunt in the back, dude. And that's like absolute spice. Mad respect to this trainer for running Crawdaunt in this meta. Shield the Crabhammer, come out with a move loaded. And that's a good game because now I'm able to get to... Stop. She wants to turn my computer off, I swear. Gonna go for the lunge, get the shield, and I'm gonna be able to debuff the Ariados, which means now it cannot KO me no matter what. And I should be able to just go for the superpower and take out the opposing... Don't do it. Opposing Ariados. She's threatening. She's got her hand. She's like doing her thing where she puts the hand right over the button. Says, Dad, how close can I get to this before you say something to me? So Miltank into Slowbro. Again, meta was shifted very heavily in the favor of Slowbro. You guys have seen many YouTube videos on the Slowbro. Now, Medicham swap-in, I don't really have a strong answer for this, so I actually have to play this a certain way. So what I do here is I actually chip it with Miltank, which seems kind of weird because I'm taking counter damage, but in order to do so, it's going to allow me to put this Medicham in range for a Psychic after I get the counters in. So I'm going to go for the Psychic, and now that I've shielded, I'm hoping my opponent's going to be like, I'm going to take the shield advantage and let you have it. Because what I really need here is I need this Medicham off the board. Right? If you think about it, the only other thing that would threaten my team right now is an opposing Buzzwole, and I have not seen a single Buzzwole in this entire league the entire time I've been playing it, so I have very little reason to believe that's going to be what I'm seeing. They're probably going to bring in their Slowbro here anyway, which they do, and it is running Confusion, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to go for a Power Punch and then go for a Psychic, because I'm not going to be able to get to both. I'm not going to get to two Psychics, so I want to go for the powered up Psychic. And I'm either hoping to grab a shield with it, or I'm hoping to do some chip damage to this person's Slowbro, so that I can come in with my Miltank, and they have a Scrafty, and that's it. This Buzzwole coming in with the detect the Scrafty, and that's going to be it. The opponent cannot go for anything other than power punches and foul plays in this matchup, which means all their damage is going to be resisted. Even though that foul play does hurt quite a bit, I'm going to farm it all the way down, and I know that all they have here is a power punch. Well, actually, no, they counted to 6, so this could be foul play, which it is, so I shield it up. But I have the lunges to go for both shields, and then Miltank just goes for a Thunderbolt, and that's game over. So, my opponent did have me on the ropes there. That was not an easy game for me by any means, because the Medicham safe swap for this team is actually very difficult. But thankfully, double lunge debuff means they're not going to be able to come close to KOing my Miltank with whatever charge move they're going to throw at me. So, very well played to my opponent. Only way that I could have done it, had they shielded those Psychics and tried to keep switch for me, that would have been a problem. But thankfully, that's going to be that. Very well played to my opponent. And there's no changes on the team, so they get that. Now, this game was against my buddy Yashif. What you're going to see in tomorrow's video is he hit Legend with a very, very strong team. And he and I are basically playing the same team because I told my Discord about this team, and he just queued up, and we just happen to be at the same elo. So, he's got the Buzzwole. I'm going to bait him with the Medicham. I'm trying to do the right plays here. And then he's going to go for a lunge, most likely. I'm fighting with this girl to keep her away from my computer at the moment. Wouldn't you get over here? You're a butthead. You're a little butthead. So I'm going to go for the Psychic, hoping he doesn't want to put two shields down to get switched, but he does. So unfortunately for me, he's going to be able to take me out. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that this is another move. But he has a lunge, so I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to shield. I'm going to go for the Psychic to win switch, but unfortunately gets to another move. I'm like, I lost count. I was like, there's no way this is another lunge. It's a power-up punch. Dude's running power-up punch on me. So I shield, I get switch, and I don't know it until after the fact, but he does have Medicham in the back, and Medicham up energy. He's going to be able to get to a Psychic before I can get to my lunge, which means that he wins. He wins. So I'm going to try to get to the lunge and catch on my Miltank. I think that's really my only play, but for some reason I couldn't. I get the one-turn desync, and at that point I'm like, all right, game's over. You win, man. Game just decided I wasn't going to play. So that's the only other reason I lose these games is because I get the one-turn desync and it literally doesn't want me to win. So here we go. I got Party Hat Charizard. Loving the spice flex of the costume. Gonna go straight for Body Slam here. I could build up to the Thunderbolt, but honestly, I feel like this Body Slam does enough damage that I'm fine with not going for it because that's going to allow my opponent to go for Blast Burns before I can get to a move, and I don't want that. Now, I go for the Thunderbolt here, not so much because I was trying to throw it at the Charizard, but because I wanted to do a little bit more damage before swapping out. So I go for the lunge here against the Medicham. As they get to the Psychic, I do have to shield this anyway because the Psychic would just decimate me. So what I'm hoping to do here, because the Charizard is so low, is I'm going to come out of this matchup with a Superpower loaded. I'm going to throw it at the Charizard after it comes back in, and then hopefully get a shield from them because I do know that I thought I would win CMP, but I don't. But because I know they only had a Dragon Claw's worth of energy, never mind, I lied, they have a Blast Burn, so I'm not counting in this video either, but that's because now they don't have any energy. I'm able to go for some rollouts. This is definitely just a Dragon Claw. So I thought. It's actually a Blast Burn. See, it's better when you're paying attention when you're playing the games. When you're shoutcasting with a little baby in your arms, it's a lot harder to keep count of your moves. So my opponent brings in a Scrafty, and even up 2 shields, there's not really much that they can do here. So unfortunately for them, I'm just going to putt my way to victory, and that's just the hard RPS fact of it, is that Scrafty is not good in a meta where Charizard and Medicham are like on every other team. So I give kudos to the people brave enough to run Scrafty, but just the way the meta looks on paper, it's just not the way to go. So opponent then concedes the match. Well played to them, but loving the Miltank. So another reason I run the Miltank is because of Alomomola. The stupid fish is weak to Thunderbolt, and despite being super tanky and my baby screaming behind me, Thunderbolt does like 50% or so of Alomomola's health. So going to be able to get that chip damage off and then safe swap into Medicham. I want to make sure that I'm drawing out something that may be in the back that's potentially good against them. So there's the Charizard. So I do a little bit of an interesting play here. I built up to the Ice Punch in this case because it's a Shadow Charizard. If it was a regular Charizard, I would have gone up to the Psychic. But because I could fake, and there was a lot of people, more than I expected, running Ice Punch on their Medicham, I just let this go. It's fine. And I'm up a shield, so my opponent now goes for what I thought was a Dragon Claw. It could be a Blast Burn. No, it's a Dragon Claw. So I will go for one more rollout, and go for the Body Slam here. And that's going to do enough damage to either force the shield or actually take out the Charizard. They're going to come back in with a Alomomola, and I'm going to go for another Thunderbolt and force the shield off of them, or they're going to lose their fish. And I'm fine now because Charizard is like the hardest answer to Buzzwole in this whole meta. Now I'm going to come in with it, and they have an Ariados in the back, and actually it's kind of scary. I'm going to be able to go for the lunge here and win CMP, which is nice because I would rather get my lunge off first because it's going to do a little bit more damage. My opponent's going to go for, at this point, I believe they're double resisted lunges, so they do about the same damage though, even though they're double resisted, and I actually get to them a lot slower because of counter rather than Poison Sting. So my opponent is going to be able to get to their cross poison for neutral damage here, but I'm going to go for another lunge, even though the opponent has more HP and they have a shield. I'm saving my shield for my Miltank, and I'm really hoping I can get to a move, but they farm me all the way down, unfortunately. Miltank is going to come in and is going to have to eat this lunge, but at this point, the Alomomola is so low that I'm going to go for this Body Slam, and it's not going to be enough. Body Slam is not going to KO this Ariados. Oh, it is going to KO Ariados. Never mind. All right. And Lomomolo's gone. That's right. We took it out. Oh, that was the last battle. All right. So, little one here is completely throwing me off my game, but I go for back-to-back 4-2 sets here in this series to go up to 2895 elo. I've been just hovering in like the 2800s, just finding battles and having fun. So that's going to do it for this video. Again, this team was absolutely clapping for the patrons in the Discord. If you want to join the Discord, you can go down in the description, hit up the Patreon link, and there's a ton of perks, including that exclusive Discord access, early access to the videos, and I mean, there's a ton of other stuff. You also get 20% or 25% off of anything on Medify from my coaching if you are a member. So if you'd also like coaching, take yourself to the next level, hit that next rank, or hit your goals this season before it's over, you can find me on Medify in the description, medify.gg/Rose. And I have tons of lessons and sessions choices to choose from. So without further ado, we're going to say goodbye for this one. Bye, Maggie. Yeah, she's looking at me like, why are you touching me, Dad? Don't touch me. All right, anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you, and bye-bye.